Wagwan beautiful people, I am Chev. If you're new to this channel, welcome Wagwan. Make sure you are subscribed down below. Y'all, we are about to do an install for Curlsqueen.com, and I just want to show you real quick the brush and bonnet that I got in my package that you can get on the website. So today's hair install will be a quick weave, and this is their Jerry Water Curly Bundle. And I got this in 20 inches. I got 3 bundles, and I requested a custom color to see if I could match it to my hair, because y'all know my hair is ginger. The ginger is here to stay. But looking at the color, I'm thinking it's a little bit bright, so I'm gonna darken it just a bit more. But we're doing a shed test with this curly hair, and it's so freaking soft, and there was no shedding at all with this hair. So with proper maintenance and all of that, you should be good to go, because this hair is giving premium quality. So we're going to do the watercolor method to darken this hair, and I'm using the Adore semi-permanent dye, and I'm using cinnamon and Cajun spice. So I just mix both colors in the hot water, and then make sure you stir it up real good. I use about, I want to say 3.5 bottles, because I really wanted the color to stick. If you don't mind wait time, you can go ahead and just apply it the traditional way, but I didn't want to wait for hours and hours for the color to take and all of that. So this is the quickest way to get that color to stick, because of the hot water that opens the hair follicle, and so the color sticks to it. And I just prefer this method every single time. Like, yeah, it saves time and it just does the job right. Also, to mention, if you're doing this with a colored bundle, make sure that you dip the roots in first, because you have to keep the bundles together so that it doesn't tangle or none of that. It has a little hard time getting the color on the roots, so you want to make sure that it is covered completely by the water, and we're going to leave that to sit for 2 hours. Honestly, it doesn't even need to sit for 2 hours, but I prefer to let it sit as long as possible. So this is my braiding pattern for my quick weave. It's nothing special, but I just want to make sure that I have a leave out on the perimeter of my hair, because I want to put this up into a ponytail sometime. I like it to look natural. If you guys watch my travel vlog to Brazil, this is like very similar to how I had my hair. So after putting on my hair oil, because we're going to be under a cap, okay? So we want to make sure that that scalp feels, you know, hydrated a bit. So I put on the black stocking cap, and I'm using double cap. I didn't feel much tension at all with this method. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew down the cap. I do not use glue directly on the cap itself. I know a lot of people have their method where they use the paper underneath and then put glue around the perimeter. No, I don't want the glue there, because it's a little bit harder to take off, and I don't like the paper underneath my cap, because I can literally hear the paper, and it's the most annoying thing ever when the paper is underneath the cap. Every little shuffle, every little movement, every little itch of my head, I can hear the paper. No, I don't want to hear that. So I'm going to sew down around on my braid of the cap, and then we're going to go in with this protective shield. Now, if you use this, you can get glue on your hair, because it's like a protective shield. And when water goes on that thing, when you cut off the thread to take it off, there is no glue on your hair. Like, simple water to remove it, and it is the quickest, easiest thing ever. But what you want to do is make sure that the hair is saturated, or rather the cap, not the hair. The cap is saturated with this, and then I just flip it over, and then I put some more on where I flipped over, and then I make sure to get some on my hair itself, just in case I get like glue on there. The protective shield is everything. Love, love, love this. I prefer this than using the paper personally, but you can use whatever method works best for you. And then if you have a hooded dryer, you can do that. But we're just going to take our regular dryer and dry that down. I dry it down for a good 5 minutes or more, just to make sure that it is properly dry. Do not glue the hair on until it is dry. Now, this is what the hair is looking like. Look at that curl pattern. It is so pretty. And then we're going to use our super hair bond glue to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up each section. Now, if you have a problem with cutting your weft, this is going to be a cut weft method because I find it so much easier for myself personally. And it doesn't matter to me cutting the weft because I do this style on myself, so I'll know how to like redo it if I need to use back the weft. Like, I don't mind. But I know if you go to a stylist, they don't like you cutting the weft and all of that, but I prefer to do this. If you want to use the weft for something else, you can do like the continuous application. But if you're doing it on yourself and you don't even have a mirror to see behind you, it's going to be a little bit difficult and you're going to spend way more time trying to install the hair. So I like cutting it because it gives me way more control and everything sits flat and great for me personally. You want to go in each section with your blow dryer, absolutely necessary, because you don't want to get to the top and you start brushing on the hair and you feel the hair coming out in the back. No ma'am. Like, make sure that it is dried on each section. So I'm just going to keep going up. You can just look at the pattern of how I'm going up, and I'm making sure that this isn't like super tight but tight enough, because the first time I did this, I feel like I was a little bit there was too much space in between the wefts because I didn't want it to look poofy or too big. But you want to make sure that the wefts are close enough together where if you flip your hair from side to side, you're not seeing the weft in the back. So this is what it's looking like in the back so far, and I am pleased with it. I was a little bit nervous, like, you know what, maybe I used too much hair, because I end up using 2.5 packs. But it turned out pretty well and I'm not even mad at it. So I'm just going to continue up until we get to the closing. Now, right now we're going to start our closing. And when we get a little bit closer to the top, I don't go all the way in. Then I start using smaller pieces going across as opposed to going around. And this will help to do that flip over method of side to side. And it will give like a seamless, invisible look. So again, if you don't mind cutting them wefts, cutting it really makes a difference. And it makes so much more sense for it to be invisible when you do like the smaller pieces to close up. And so we close all the way until we get to the other side, and then we start going the other way. So I'm just going to show you guys so you can see, as opposed to like me explaining it. It's way more better to visually see how I'm closing this. And also with the closing, that is why it's necessary for the protective shield, because we end up going a little bit on the root with the glue. And again, that thing came off so easy with just water. So, well, not too easy, but like if you're purposefully trying to take it off, then yes. But look at the close. Look at the seamless flip over of this hair. Like, I am in love thus far. And you see what I'm talking about with the root? I should have went in a little bit with the dye directly on the root, because I can see that it's a little bit lighter than the rest of the hair. So learn from my little trial and error. Make sure that you are getting that dye on the root if you're going to end up dyeing this hair. So I'm going in with a spray bottle to wet this hair up. I want to define the curls a bit, so I'm using water, and then we're going to use mousse to define the hair. And also a tad bit of information: if you're going to do the watercolor method, do expect naturally for the curls to be a little bit looser. I realized that after, especially with color treated hair, if you put it in hot water, any type of, high temperature, anything, it's going to loosen the curls. So if you want to keep that original, juicy curl pattern, do not do the hot water method. You're going to have to do the traditional way of dyeing the hair, which is just putting the dye directly on the hair and letting it sit for the time being to really get the color. Because with the watercolor, it did loosen it, and it was a little bit harder for me to blend my hair with it because the curls were looser. But obviously I didn't realize that until after I was styling the hair. I'm like, you know what? Oop, the hot water really did loosen it, obviously, naturally. with that. So I'm like, you know what, we're gonna fix this. I was a little bit panicky, like, oh my god, how am I gonna blend this? But it did absolutely work out perfectly. So now I'm gonna put on my diffuser on my dryer and we're gonna dry the hair. But looking at the curl pattern after diffusing the hair, I'm like, gorgeous. This is so freaking stunning. The hair is so full, the curls are defined, it was tangle free, like the hair was so manageable, and I was impressed with the quality of this hair. And again, didn't experience any shedding. Do you see how easy it was for me to detangle that hair, run my finger through it with the mousse? Perfection. So now I'm just pulling out my hair, trying to see how I'm gonna make this work. And I'm like, oh girl, yeah, the curl pattern is a little bit loose. It's gonna be loose for my hair when I actually wet it up. But you know what, you always gotta move. You gotta be confident that you can make something shake. And that is one thing I'm gonna do. If something doesn't go how I imagine it's gonna go, I'm gonna keep going until it makes sense. So I'm like, you know what, let's try mousse. The mousse wasn't giving me what I want, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go in with some gel and try to do some finger coil. I do have some damage in the front of my hair, so that wasn't working out too good as well. So I'm like, you know what, girl, what we gonna do? We gonna make this work, because this hair is too nice to not make it work. So I went in with the Shea Moisture Edge Control, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna do my edges, and we're gonna do a half down, because we have a decent amount of hair out that it will cover the weft to give a cute little half down moment. But if you do not hot water this hair, the curl pattern, whatever curl pattern you select, it's gonna blend, absolutely gonna blend. But if I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't have used the hot water method. But yeah, we're just gonna move. So to do this half down, all I did was use some gel, use my little bristle brush, and it was super easy to do. I just grabbed some hair from the middle and put it in a ponytail, and the hair was completely covered. It gave an invisible ponytail. I'm like, you know what, I'm not even mad at this. It is super cute, because if you watch my vlog to Brazil, after a couple of days I did put it up in half down, the quick weave. So I knew I could be capable of doing this style. And this can work if you end up getting the perfect match for the curly hair. You can do so much things with a quick weave because it's so versatile. So I just wrap the hair around the base, shake the curls out, and I'm like, you know what, this is absolutely giving. Do a little swoop to the dupe action. Obviously you don't have to do all that, but I did a swoop to the dupe, and I'm like, yeah, I am absolutely feeling this. The color against my skin always. I don't know if I can switch from ginger. It is just my vibe now. It is totally me. Now after doing my hair for 3 days, I'm like, you know what, I want to switch it up. Let's do some wand curl. At first I'm like, you know, I didn't want to use heat on my hair, but I'm like, you know what, forget it, I'm feeling the wand curl. So I washed out the front. Yes, washed out the front of my hair, blow dried it, straighten it, and do you see the hair and the quick weave still intact? I didn't have to re-glue anything at all. The method that I did for this quick weave stayed. So you can definitely wash the front of your hair and then restyle it how many times you want. This quick weave could actually last way beyond a month. So to do my wand curl, I had to blow dry the curly hair. I know in the front or the beginning of this, styling it at first without blow drying it, I'm like, you know what, we need to get this hair just a little bit straight. We didn't have to use a flat iron or nothing like that, but just use a blow dryer for each section just to help you to smooth it out, and then go in with your wand iron. I got this wand iron from Amazon a few years ago, so I'm going to put it in my Amazon storefront if it's not already in there, so you guys could get the exact one. And then I just started curling, and I'm like, oh my god, this is absolutely giving. Do you see on the side that I blow dry this side? So that is how it's gonna look after you blow dry it out, and then you go in with the wand iron rather. So I put my hair with the curly piece in the front and then started wrapping around. And when you do that with your hair, it blends in with the curly hair, and it just looks like it's coming straight out of your scalp. This is your real hair and everything. Like, yeah, this style, Oh, in love. I have an obsession with this style at this point. If I could do it all the time, I definitely would. Now, once I'm done, I'm trying to shake the hair. Look at it. Look how beautiful this hair is. I did give it a little cut because I wanted it to be a bit shorter. So I cut off about 2 inches of the hair just to shape it so it could shape around my face and then give me like a curly-ish bob. And look at that flip over. She is stunning. Now, this is actually a couple of days after I did the style. And girl, look how well the curls held up. My gosh. Like, I'm going to show you in a bit how to preserve your curls, but she stayed in place, and I'm super impressed with how well the hair holds curls without having to recurl it. This is what the back looks like. This hair is just everything. So I showed you a heatless version of doing a quick weave and also one with doing heat and a one curl. Like, the hair is super versatile. Now let me show you how to preserve this. You need a hairnet, like a lunch lady hairnet. Okay, this came with the hair, and I also have a couple from like other hair that I have. But if you can go on Amazon and get like an even tighter netting, get it, because listen, you could sleep on this for days. All you need is to push, like gently push the hair up into the net and then put your bonnet on. You don't even need a scarf, but if you want to wear a scarf, you can do that. But I didn't want a bunch of things on my head. Like, I like to breathe, my head to breathe when I'm sleeping. So all I use is a net and a bonnet, and the curl stayed. Like, the next morning I was like a little bit nervous, but ooh, girl, she stayed, and you just fluff it out and that is it. Let me know what you guys think about this style and both methods. Let me know which one you would wear. Matter of fact, you could wear both because it is so versatile. All the details for this hair and the tools that I use will be in the description box down below. I love y'all so much for watching. Go and big up on yourself. Bye guys.